Hey everyone, this is Chiefs beat writer Brooke Pryor. On today's episode, we talked about Patrick Mahomes' voice, his start to the season, the inside linebackers, and what we think is going to happen in the Chiefs-Jaguars game Sunday. Enjoy! Hey everybody, we are back at Arrowhead at the Chiefs practice facility. They're somewhere that way practicing. We're sitting around here doing other very important work, like analyzing whether or not Patrick Mahomes sounds like Kermit the Frog. And I think we kind of came to a consensus that he does. We're gonna go to Vahe right here.
What I like about this is that while the three of you are studying game film, my wife and I have been watching a lot of Sesame Street clips. This morning we watched Fozzie the Bear for 8 minutes because I saw somebody on Twitter suggesting it was more like Fozzie, and I don't hear it. I think we're still with Kermit. In case you don't know what we're talking about, we've sort of, as Brooke put it, named the frog elephant in the room with Patrick Mahomes' voice. We haven't really talked about it. I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but I didn't want to bring it up until Patrick brought it up. I felt like it would be kind of rude. I think that's what I wrote in the column today. It is interesting. It's an unusual voice, but open the door for us a little, Pat. And he did with that interview with Lisa Salters where he just brought up that that's how people tease him. So we're all out in the open on this now, and maybe nowhere near as amusing to anybody else but me, but it seemed like a column's worth of stuff today.
It seems like it's been a topic just in some different, it's just anecdotal, but I listened to a couple different podcasts, and so I think Tony Kornheiser had mentioned it on his, Dan Lebertard on that radio show. So a couple of people have just sort of been talked about how they were surprised. They may have seen his face, but then when they heard the voice that came from it, they're all like, wait a minute, what? So it's been said that.
It's taken people so long to hear his voice. Yes, it's his first year as a starting quarterback, but my man was doing interviews before this week. But now that he's been on Monday Night Football, it's like everybody realized, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's like the first, I don't know how long it took everybody to realize what Ed Orgeron sounded like, but it kind of feels like it's that same kind of impact of whoa, what is this?
Well, no one here goes farther back or more in depth with Patrick Mahomes than Sam. And Sam, you haven't really talked about this very much. Maybe it doesn't interest you.
Oh, have you been working on your impersonation?
I think like what Brooke just said, it's the first time you hear it, you can't help but it's jarring. It is, but after you hear it for a while, it's just funny the different layers. People in Lubbock,
right? People
in Tyler, Texas, people in White House.
Yeah,
you're like, he was talking like that when he was 14,
yeah.
Right? People in Lubbock, he was talking like that since he was a freshman, and now it's just. If and when they make a Super Bowl, that'll be a thing.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have voice
experts.
Media day.
That'll be a thing. One thing that it made
voice
me
experts,
think of,
yes.
is when I went to White House and Tyler and did that story over the summer, I met with a couple of his friends, and one of them, I asked, at some point I was just like, dude, we got to talk about the voice. And we went into it a little bit. He's like, there's a lot going on there, stuff. And then he called me. We had dinner. And I'm driving back to Dallas to my hotel, and he called me, and he asked for two things that we talked about to be just don't use, and of course that's fine. And I actually forgot what the other one was, but one of them was his voice, and he goes, I just don't want it to seem like I'm making fun of him.
Yeah.
And that's you had that in your column about it. It would have felt rude, but Pat sort of opened it up and sort of brought it all on, and which is very him. Right.
Yeah, it is. It goes back to something Brooke wrote last week, and that we've been talking about, for lack of a better term, how he owns things, and he, he's very real about whatever he's dealing with.
I wonder if away from us, if he has that kind of self-deprecating humor, because he's shown it to us a little bit. Owning the voice thing. But we haven't heard him be sarcastic or anything. I kind of hope that he is with that. Also because that's my sense of humor. But I think he has to own the voice stuff. But what I'm interested in, he said that he started getting teased about it in 7th grade. So until 7th grade, and you mentioned this in your column, is it that kids just started to notice in 7th grade that it was different and, that's when you start making fun of each other? Or did he, puberty happen and his voice ended up like that?
I wish we could have gotten one more question in on that. I will speak as a former 7th grader who had the name Vahe and will say, and also moved to a new school that year in a new state.
Oh, no.
That was not a good time. So I think maybe it's a tough time to have that voice. Now, what we don't know is if the voice suddenly sprouted then, or if it was just, kids turning into punk jerks at 7th grade, which some kids did.
That does happen sometimes.
So, I don't know. But he seems to have recovered from it.
Doesn't sound at all like you're still. It doesn't sound at all like you're still bearing any.
I'm okay. You know what can I do? Now I'm like Patrick. Now I treasure having my different kind of name. But back then,
it took you a while to own it.
Yeah, we met your buddy Ryan Clark last week, and I told him that would be the name I would like to have had at that age. A name that is kind of cool but sort of not that different. Hey, sorry, we're really getting far afield. Sorry, host.
Let me just bring this.
Name would you like to?
You know what? I'll tell you guys this because one time in 5th grade, I wrote down that my name was Jamie because it was right after a walk to remember. Except I wrote it down on a test that we had to turn in, and so the teacher got in and said, called me out into the whole room and said, "Jamie." That was me, and that's when I stopped assuming fake names. But let's talk about football instead, and not any more of my embarrassing moments from elementary school. So Patrick Mahomes has a unique voice. Also won the AFC Player of the Month in September, surprising absolutely no one. But, I mean, at this point, what can he do? But I didn't realize he'd thrown for 1,200 yards. It was such a nice round number, even number, that I assumed somebody was rounding up. But no, along with everything else, that he is just amazing. And how does this happen? His numbers is perfect through the first 4 weeks. So I think we should mention the most, Patrick Mahomesian moment of the first month that made you go, yeah, this guy's legit. I mean, because we saw in training camp he's throwing all these interceptions and everything, and people are kind of up and down on him, but what moment to you sticks out from him in the first month that helped him get this award? What's interesting is there's so many, right? And it's very easy to think of the left-hand pass. It's very easy to think of basically the next full play from scrimmage, the 2nd and 30, where he throws it 23 yards. Sam had a great point today that maybe the throw to Demarcus Robinson that he couldn't hang on to in the end zone. But I do believe one play comes back to me, and it's the 1,700-word play that Sam wrote about. Under 1,700. Is that right? 1,698? Yeah.
16 and change.
But it was that, right? It was that moment. It encapsulated everything for me. So I stole Sam's idea.
I was going to say,
as usual.
Jeez, that's brutal. You wrote 1,600 words about it. You just summed it up in 10.
My job is on the block now. I thought there's many correct answers here, right? But one thing, so I won't do that one with a left-handed throw, but that 2nd and 30, and not, here's what it was. It was when they got to 2nd and 30, we were sitting next to each other, Vahe, and I was 100% certain that they were going to convert that.
I knew you, and you said something too. I don't remember your words, but I think we were.
Broncos are in trouble now.
Yeah, and we weren't really joking.
No.
I mean, and I think we all had sort of the feeling I think the line maybe one of us used, it might have been any one of us, something along the lines of, well, they've got to play for this.
Yeah, I think it was you.
It was.
And the once so I felt confident, but then once he escapes to his right, then you go, oh, well, geez, this is easy. If they're gonna let him escape the pocket to his right on 2nd and 30, you can't have that. It was just that's the difference. 2nd and 30 last year. No offense to Alex Smith, I think he's a good quarterback. All that disclaimer aside, but that would have been a tunnel screen or some little center screen to Kareem Hunt, and it would have got 8. And then they've got 3rd and 22, and then that's how that thing goes.
Right.
It's just everything's different now.
Yeah, Lynn, something on your mind on that?
I mean, I guess I would say the infamous 16 and change word play, but I guess just to go in a different direction, I would go back to maybe that first pass of the season, the touchdown to Tyreek, just because it happened so fast. And that's sort of the way I think about this year. Is I didn't expect him to be this good this soon. And just the fact that the first pass come out, it was the run pass option one where he throws it into this little tight window and boom, off to the races. And it's it's not supposed to be that easy. You're not supposed to just come out there throwing touchdown passes as soon as you take the field. But that's how he started this season.
One thing I want to just quick add, and it's something we've all taken notice of and written about in various forms, but one thing that's really interesting with this is this takes me back to the preseason game at Atlanta, the 70-yard pass to Tyreek. Part of the point of that play wasn't just that Patrick threw it as far as he could or almost as far as he could. It was the mentality of never quit on Pat. Mm-hmm. And that has shown up again and again. Even though Tyreek and Pat, I thought, had a weird game at Denver, there were some 2-3 clear miscommunications between them. The left-handed pass play was about as much about Tyreek following and being where he was as it was about Patrick doing that, right? I mean, they know every play is going to be extended, not just that it could be. And these guys are rising to that in a pretty meaningful way. I mean, it brings that out of them.
Mm-hmm. Austin Johnston mentioned on Facebook, and I don't know that the stat's true, but I'm going to say it out loud because it sounds really cool, and if it is, that's awesome. We'll check into it. But he said, FYI, on 2nd and 30, that's the only time a Chiefs quarterback has converted something in 30 to go for a first down since 1994 without a defensive penalty.
Wow.
Which is an oddly specific stat, so I don't know how. I don't even know how you look that up. Austin, if you're still watching, let us know how you found that, because that is
game
really
by
cool.
game by game.
He said
something, yeah.
That in 1994 is as far back as the data goes, so I don't know where that. He said, check Pro Football Reference Play Finder.
How about that?
Good to know. Thanks for the information. And I'm going to go with one of my favorite moments, and it wasn't during. I mean, it was during the game, but it wasn't when he was on the field, and it happened Monday night. When I went back and rewatched it, people on Twitter were talking about how Andy and Patrick were having these constant conversations during the game, and I think I wrote about that today. And I think to me that shows his willingness to learn and the support that he has from the staff, and that kind of plays into the success that he's having. I mean, he had all these people surrounding him. I took a screenshot when I was watching it back last night. And it's tough when you're rewatching a game for the moments that are off the field, because it's not like I can go through my play-by-play and be like, all right, well, here's the touchdown. Let me fast forward to that. So I was having to rewatch the whole TV broadcast to see when they cut to it. And in the third quarter, he comes off the field and they show him. He has Andy on one side and Chad Henne on the other side. Chad has his tablet. Andy has his play sheet. And they're just going through and they're studying thing by thing. And it almost felt like, you forgot that there was a game going on the field right in front of them, because they're so into what they're doing. And it's a communication that Andy said he hasn't had with a quarterback since Alex Smith's first year and then early in Donovan McNabb's career. And I think that just shows that they're doing everything possible to make him successful. And Chad Henne told me yesterday that Patrick is not going to say yes to everything. Like if Andy says, hey, I think we want to do this call, if he sees something out there that doesn't fit or he's not comfortable with it, he is not afraid to say, no, I don't think so, which is so rare, I think.
I think that is fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Don't you guys? I mean, like he feels ready to say, not for me. And I know Chad probably didn't get specific, right? But
no, he didn't say, well, he
wouldn't it
actually
be
really
interesting?
liked this call.
Yeah.
He hated this one.
But wouldn't it be interesting to know what he's rejecting?
Well, yeah, seeing what he does out there. I mean, how crazy, what like mad scientist stuff is Andy Reid giving him? And Pat's like, okay, no, now you've gone too far. This is where the line has been crossed.
Or maybe he's throwing out like, I don't want that vanilla nonsense.
Right.
Right.
Every play, we're going deep, whether you like it or not.
Well, can I say one thing? This may be one of the very few things that has not been talked a lot about with Pat Mahomes. I'm just looking at this number right now. He is third in the league. Sack percentage is 3.5%. Last year, I looked this up. Alex Smith, with the same line, same coach, all that stuff, was at 6.5%. Alex Smith is a really good athlete, right? Like that's not the problem. But there's something different. Look, we're a fourth of the way through the season, so whatever. But Pat makes that offensive line better than it is. The escapability. I sent a tweet out today about like it was the first drive of the second half, and there are 3 third downs where he could have / should have been sacked. And he was sacked on none of them. And one went for 24 to Demetrius Harris down the sideline. One went for 29 when he kind of pirouetted to Travis Kelce. And then the other one was that superhero throw to Demarcus Robinson that hit his hands and he didn't catch. Would have been a really tough catch. Like Demarcus Robinson talks like it was just like breadbasket. It would have been a really good catch, but still hit his hands. And I just and that was escaping one guy and getting blasted by another. Those are little plays that that turn out positive that I think with a normal human quarterback are sacks. And it's one of the few things that we haven't been talking about with Pat.
What was the number that you said?
3.5%.
Who's number one?
Phillip Rivers at 3.3%. So they've been sacked the same amount of times. Pat 138 attempts, Rivers 147. So they're essentially the same, right? And last year's was what you're asking. Last year, Alex Smith. I'm just going to double check.
They had some really bad sack game early last year. I mean, where I think 6 sacks or something against them. I can't remember what it was. I might be wrong on that stat.
6.5%.
Maybe the third game or what? Okay, no, it wouldn't have been then. But I think a game they won, they had a lot of sacks, or maybe they had 4. Maybe they had 4 against the Eagles. Anyway, but to your point, there's 2 things happening here, aren't they? One is we can all just close your eyes and you picture him on the run throwing a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's happening. But the other thing, I think this is true, and actually I was talking to Trent Green today about a couple things on Patrick. And his observation was that Patrick, his ability to still be in the pocket and get it away is a little faster than we even realize. Even when he's not flush from the pocket completely, like the throw to DeMarcus, I guess he's out of the pocket, right? He's drifted to his left, but part of that is it's not about him being out in open field. It's about they're still closing on him, mm-hmm. and he feels it. We were joking about this the other day about how Von Miller. Didn't know Patrick threw it left-handed, but Patrick knew it was Von Miller. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. part of it might have been that after they got up, he knew who tackled him and everything. But there's some kind of sense of it closing on him. I think we talked about this too, right? You just don't. Yeah, it's the spider sense. The Spidey watch. But it is that, right? It's that something. It's that certain something that not everybody has.
I think part of it might also just be his in-tuneness to the protections too, because I think Kafka was in here last week and talked about that was one of the biggest things that he sort of grew, or biggest areas where he grew that last year when he was just in practice, because he said that was something he didn't necessarily have to do a whole lot of at Texas Tech, and here they put that on the quarterback, and he talked about that being a big area of growth for him, just understanding protections and things like that. And I feel like when you see him scramble like the Von Miller play, the left-handed throw, I think part of that was him knowing who was going to be coming free and where they're going to be coming from, and that's why he's able to do that. And, I think that's part of that, but there's also just some, there's athleticism and just feel and stuff in there too, but I think that's part of it, is just the understanding of what's coming and where it's coming from and, how to handle that. But that doesn't, just knowing it doesn't mean you can do it. It's right. All of that,
I think
Alex was sacked 16 times in the first 4 games. 3, 4, 5, and 4.
And what's Patrick, like 5 total or
5
4?
Total.
5 total.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Remarkably different. A thing that you just made me think of, and we've talked about things around this, but I don't think we've ever really talked about this. Obviously, the Chiefs did the right thing with cultivating Patrick, having Alex here last year. Alex had a great year, all those things. I have wondered in my mind how Patrick would be if they had just thrown him out there last year. How different would it be? I think quite a lot different, but I don't know.
Like Sam Darnold-esque, throwing a pick 6 on his first play.
Right? Maybe.
First throw, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I just wonder if, and there's no way to know, but I wonder if you guys have any thoughts about that.
I have a thought, and this comes from, I'm kind of bowing to Cliff Kingsbury, who obviously knows him better than any of us. And Cliff said he thought that Pat could have got by fine, like could have, that in a lot of this he put on Andy Reid, he'll scheme some things up and he'll be able to protect him. But he said, like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, I really hope he gets that year. Like, that'll be a big thing for him. And that's obviously Cliff Kingsbury. Some of Cliff Kingsbury's career depends on Pat Mahomes' success in Kansas City, so he can say, I coached that guy, I recruited him. He was a 3-star, number 11, quarterback in the country, and look what he is now. Like, so he's got a vested interest in this, and that was his. I thought that point of view was really interesting. That he let him. Yeah. This red shirt would be good for him.
Yeah. And I think we sort of just, I don't know if we just take it as a given or underestimate the value of what probably went on in practice, because obviously nobody was there to see it, but when you talk to whether it was Eric Bieniemy, I think I had asked him about, sort of what sort of things you knew from just seeing him practice would translate to the game. And he talked about, obviously you could see the progress, but just going up against Bob Sutton's defenses, he thinks helped him just with being able to recognize things when it came to game time. And I remember asking Chad Henne actually one time about just how much you can translate from practice. And he said that he thought actually that the way they do things here in Andy Reid is making the quarterback take care of a lot of things in practice, like, that you're not stopping stuff, and, that you have to, if there's something wrong in practice, you the quarterback, have to be able to set things up and put people in the right spots, just even in practice. He thought that helped get guys ready for a game. So I think that, that year probably had a whole lot of an impact. And then you talk about Kafka talking about him just, being better with protections. Like, there's no way for us to measure it or to be able to quantify it because you weren't there in practice and you didn't actually see what it would have been if he had been out there. But it sounds like from all those different people that there were a lot of things that he got used to and that he got sort of thrown into in practice. And maybe he did make a whole lot of mistakes that we just never saw, but now we see the end result of that.
Yeah. Don't underestimate the game last year. I mean, I still think that's such a critical component to the building of Patrick Mahomes, to have had that game in the stadium where he played.
I don't think that's a coincidence. Also, just real quick, we've had someone ask, we've had Michael Rutland ask who everybody is. Realized I skipped the introductions because I was so excited to talk about Kermit Mahomes. We have columnist Vahe Gregoian right here, other columnist Sam Mellinger right there, Lynn Worthy down there. We've got Blair as our producer back there. He's
and voice of God.
And voice of God. Blair isn't mic'd up, but he has a lot of really good insight, so he's just going to shout really loud, and hopefully that will pick up on one of these 4 mics. I'm Brooke Pryor also. Realized I never introduced myself because, again, so excited. But Brandon Fry mentions that this game Sunday is a game where Andy's creativity will be really relied upon. The pass rush should create some problems. Going to have to get the ball out quick and create advantageous matchups. This is the toughest defense that the Chiefs have faced. It kind of feels like the Broncos game was a good warm-up for that. Vahe, you look like you've got some
The only thought is it's just a very minor observation, but the weather's going to be a factor. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be raining all game. And Dave Tobe was talking, the special teams coordinator Dave Tobe was talking today about how they seem to want it to rain today, and it's not, but they're going to have to do some of their, double secret, tricky wet ball drills, but they're going to be working on that, and they need that, and you can make a case that's going to hinder the Chiefs, should hinder the Chiefs more than it would Jacksonville. Of course, the kid got his first start in 18-degree weather in Denver, so maybe it doesn't matter that much.
Say, what's the thing that's going to slow him
down?
Ooh,
rain. I mean, I don't know, but I think
it is interesting though.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps the Chiefs that Kareem Hunt just got going last week. I mean, he's been this kind of slow build. Bieniemy said, "Oh, he's really good. You guys aren't seeing it, but he's running his ass off. Like you're gonna." And then it kind of felt like that all came to fruition against the Broncos. So probably a good time to get him going. Do you guys have any thoughts about this matchup against the Jags defense?
Sometimes I think the rain is a little bit overrated in terms of can you throw in it. I guess there's a danger of like a ball slipping, right? But in theory, the offensive player knows where he's going, the defensive player doesn't. So if the traction is diminished for both sides, that should be advantageous to the offense. All that being said, Jacksonville's good against the run and the pass. I guess a little bit better against the pass. They got some dudes up front that can get to the quarterback. But I think we've talked about this a lot this year already. Like, I know it sounds dumb that Kareem Hunt led the league in rushing last year, but that's who I would make beat me. If I was Jacksonville, that's what I would be scheming against to make the league's leading rusher beat you.
One quick aside about the ball throwing, though, too. I don't know if this is different with Patrick or maybe it's just the same as with anybody, but one of the things I think sometimes you don't want to criticize this, but there's a little velocity issue sometimes with how fast it comes in and with a wet, heavy ball. I mean, I don't know how wet and heavy it'll be, how quickly they replace them and keep them dry, but I do wonder about that. But I also think you're right. I think that was a little part of their game plan last week, right? They were going to make stopping Kareem beat them. Of course, they always have this passing game they can use, but Kareem was a bigger part of the game plan.
And there were more opportunities for him too, like just the way that Denver was playing him. But.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Blair Kerkhoff, and if you're listening to this, you love Kansas City sports, whether it's the Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mizzou, KU, or K-State. And no one covers these teams like the Kansas City Star. If you currently subscribe to the paper or have a digital subscription, thank you for your support. And if you don't, here's a great offer. It's called Sports Pass, unlimited digital access to every sports story and video on kansascity.com. And it's just $30 for the first year. It's the best sports value in town, just 8 cents a day or $2.50 a month. You can't beat that. Subscribe now at kansascity.com/sportspass.
Carla Baymiller trainer asks, was Kelsey hurt when he was slammed/pushed out of bounds with the one catch in the end zone? He hasn't been on the injury report, so.
No, but didn't he come out of the...
He came out for a play, I think.
Yeah, came out for a play. And
but then came back in.
Yeah, like the next play. He
right.
sat out the one play. We thought.
So and I don't know if it was ever asked, but I just assumed, I guess, that maybe it was one of those wind got knocked out of him deals, because when he got up, like he was down, then he got up and walked off. It wasn't like they had to help him.
And then he went to a knee.
Yeah.
Right, he got up and then went down to a knee.
So I wonder if that's one of those you landed funny and like had to sort of couldn't catch his breath sort of thing.
Yeah,
and
I think
then,
that's what it was.
You know, and then he came right back. So it was like whatever it wasn't that, you know. But yeah, he hasn't been, from what I remember, he wasn't on the injury report yesterday, I don't think.
No, I didn't notice him.
You know, one thing, this is kind of...
On the injury list, but sorry.
You make a good point.
I can't believe he stayed in the game and then went on to do everything he did after that one, waffle, pretzel, whatever guy. One quick thing about injuries, I don't want to use his name just because it was kind of just a casual conversation, but I was chatting with one Chiefs player today, and I said, well, it's good to see you looking healthy, and and he kind of smiled, and I said, as far as I know, and he just goes, as far as you know. And I think that's something going on with all these guys, right? I mean, it's just no way around it. It's a violent game, and who knows what everybody's dealing with, but at least overtly, Kelsey seems...
Right, and
okay.
I think the fact that he's not on the injury report is good.
Yeah.
Because there are I've looked at other people tweeting out the injury reports for the teams they cover, and they are extensive. And the fact that the Chiefs has still been pretty short, I think is encouraging, which this is a great segue into our weekly What's Going On with Eric Berry question, which has been asked by multiple people.
Referred to the previous week.
Yeah. Just rinse, repeat. We're not.
Bless you all for
He is getting better, though.
Although
we heard that
and,
this week.
and also this week was the return of the literally day-to-day.
That's right.
It's the longest day-to-day I've ever seen.
Hey, somebody pointed this out to me, and this is only speculation, but Eric, do you think Eric overall just physically looks healthy? I mean, everything.
The times we see him, nothing looks. He doesn't look like he's moving. I mean, he's just walking around. So I mean, it's how much you really.
But does he look gaunt or anything? Does he? It doesn't look like that to you.
He looks the same. But I mean, he's doing, like, you'll hear from people inside the building, like he's doing his workouts, like he's doing box jumps, and I mean, he's.
Wonder why they won't.
Box jumps on a sore heel sounds so painful.
Why won't they talk publicly about that? Like, why will they just say, "Oh, he's getting better, doing all those things"? Like,
I want to know what those things are. Wow.
Yeah, because they're an NFL team. Yeah, I guess that's.
Yeah. But he, I mean, to me, like, but I mean, it's Groundhog Day, right? But like in training camp, he's walking around with his Eric Berry walk, and he looks to me the same. He just continues to get better, though.
Left ankle's a little more swollen than the right ankle. We noticed that today.
Did you do some ankle staring?
Yes, we did do some ankle staring in the locker room today.
Whatever you got to do. However, we're going to get the information. Jacob Calloway asks, when do the Chiefs expect Sorensen to come back? He doesn't expect Barry to come back at all. But Sorensen, actually, somebody mentioned him earlier this week, and I'm like, oh yeah, we are getting close to that. Is it 6 weeks after surgery that they expected an update? He's eligible.
Yeah, but when was it? It was 6 weeks was when he was going to be reevaluated, right?
Right.
Which, I mean, and there was multiple things as parts of that injury. So, like, reevaluated, I never assumed when they said that meant, okay, around that time, they're going to say
he'll be back,
or he'll be X amount of time away. I mean, this could be another one of those. Okay, we reevaluated them, and now he's literally day to day. You know, I mean, I don't expect that to be
literally
any
minute
time.
to minute.
Yeah.
Like,
Week 8, I think, is what they're softly targeting.
For Eric or
Sorensen.
Sorensen. It's sort
I'd
of
originally heard this week for Barry.
that's and I heard this week or next, right? But again, I still think this too. Do you guys? I think we've talked about this, but he's not going to start practicing on Wednesday and play that Sunday,
I don't know. I think that
right?
Hard
Or
to do. He doesn't- you know, we get to see 10 minutes of practice. He's never practicing. I just don't see how he would be game ready without having, you know, he's a pro and he's a veteran and all that, but there's no way you go from not playing for however many, almost 2 months now, right? August, September, and then going into the lineup.
I could see him getting 20 snaps, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that's
something like
right.
that.
If limited, very limited play.
Yeah.
Get him out there.
I mean, who knows? Who knows how they do it?
I think I just
Not be a
keep.
factor.
Yeah, I keep remembering when I think Bob Sutton was talking about Le'Veon Bell and how there was that one year where he hadn't. I think he was. It was different. It was suspension, but he came back that week and jumped right in like he didn't miss any time. And I think it was maybe only 3 weeks or something like
and
that.
surprised the Chiefs, I think was part of the term Bob used,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So I wonder if he comes back on a Wednesday, if he plays that week and just maybe doesn't play as many snaps, for Eric Berry.
Well, mentioning some of the other DBs this week, the Chiefs added Josh Shaw, who, I don't know, do you guys remember what he was known for before he just signed with the Chiefs earlier this week?
I feel like you mentioned it on Twitter, but I don't remember it.
Anybody else know what he was known for?
He was known for something?
Yeah, he was.
Blair knows.
Yeah.
In 2014, I believe, while he was still at USC,
Southern Cal, right?
Yep, he was the player that broke both of his legs jumping off a balcony.
Oh.
He
Into the
said,
swimming
yeah,
pool.
he
Okay.
said that it was to save the kid. It was because he was actually having an argument with his girlfriend, jumped off the balcony to run away from the police. And now he is with the Chiefs. He was with the Bengals the last couple of years, played safety, I believe, but he was a corner in college. So he does give them a versatility. What do you guys think about this signing? Now
I think you just told me the most interesting part about it. I can't believe I didn't remember that was it.
I'll just
Please.
one of the interesting things to me is it leaves the Chiefs with 2 tight ends, and how many games in their history have they had 2 tight ends on the roster? Just Kelsey and Harris.
We've seen games where they had 3 on the
And
field.
Sherman, that's it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say.
We've seen games where they had 3 on the field.
Yeah.
Right.
3 tight ends on the field.
As soon as I saw that, it made me think of that first game of the season, how Andy talked about Sherman sort of filling in as that third guy. And I think once they saw it, now they felt comfortable with it because, I mean, they sort of talked around it before the season, like, oh, yeah, we think we'll be all right and we'll get, it'll only be a week. But I think it worked out well enough, and they look at it and say, okay, we don't need a third guy.
And do they still have 2 tight ends on the practice squad? Because I know they added one this morning. There was one last week or 2 weeks ago that they added that we all thought, why did they add another tight end? But today they released Leon McQuay in favor of another tight end whose name I'm drawing a blank on. But we saw him in the locker room today. His name is Dion Yelder was signed.
Did the Chiefs haven't announced that, have they?
They have not, but I got it confirmed, and his agency tweeted it out.
My thing with Shaw, I think that we're going to see a lot of this, street guys.
Bringing in guys.
One interesting thing, I don't know if he's hurt. I guess I should
He
look
hurt
that
his
up, but-
groin in the preseason.
Third preseason game, right?
Well, the guy I was thinking of is Tyvon Branch.
Ex-Chief?
Yeah, he was here and was pretty good. I mean, that was like 2015, I think. But he was pretty good here. I think he's like 31, something like that, so he's not super old. He's 31. I don't know, it just seems like a guy that they maybe a guy to keep in mind. Because their safeties, Ron Parker had he was terrible.
He started out so hot, and I feel like we haven't really heard
helped
from him
win that
since.
Chargers
Yeah,
game.
he did.
I don't know if they win that game without him. That was a hell of a play that he made, and he had some good stops in the run game. His bad snaps in the pass game got washed away with drops.
Was he the one beating on the Demaryius Thomas would-be touchdown to lose the game?
It looked like that was him to
Or
me.
part of him. I guess it was.
Scandrick kind of like passed
Yeah.
him on. I don't know that was a mistake. Parker was late.
Right.
But you
Right
could
in between.
see a lot of times, like the Broncos, like that seemed to be part of what they were trying to do was pick on Ron Parker, and he did not answer the bell. So I'd expect them to try and. I mean, they cut him once already.
Yeah.
Right?
He's been how many times? I mean, he had a long run here before that, but remember he was cut like 9 times.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that,
it was some kind of almost record. I mean, some of it's just semantics, but anyway, I like Ron Parker. I hope he plays better.
I think somebody else that we've been asked about, Chris Boone wants to know, has Hitchens fallen off already? Week 1 and 2, he was just about the one consistent tackler. Now he is literally getting dragged into end zones. Literally, which we did see literally happen.
Well, we did, and I think as we might have talked about this a little bit Monday night. It was sort of, I don't know if it was symbolic of everything else, but it sort of was, right? I mean, they're not tackling well. And the 2 middle guys, I think you studied this, Sam, the 2 middle guys really are struggling particularly.
No, yeah, they've been terrible. I'm going to look up. I think those 2 guys, the running backs and tight ends in particular, have just killed this team. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is the tight ends can't cover.
You mean the pass?
Can't be covered. Or they can't cover the tight ends.
The linebackers can't cover.
Yeah.
Trying to look up the tackling here. Missed tackles. Look toward the bottom. There's Reggie Ragland with 7. Anthony Hitchens with 4. Ron Parker with 6. I mean, it's just like way too many. And those numbers seem a little low. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw a ton of them. I mean, I keep going back to it, but that touchdown by Freeman, you know, and there were 6 guys that had a shot at him, and you know nobody did. Obviously, Hitchens that was
really bad.
I mean, it was just they got some problems.
Mitch Connell asked, "What's going on with inside linebackers? Can't stop the run, can't cover the pass. We miss DJ. Is it scheme or talent?"
Well, I mean, Reggie's not in the cover. I mean, that's just. I mean, I think, and that's why Terrence Smith gets as much time as he does is when they can. Like, it's a situation where they know it's more likely pass. Reggie's coming out because he's not in there to cover. He's in there to go downhill and try and stop the run. That being said, Denver's line did a heck of a job of getting to them, and like there wasn't a whole lot of getting down. And then there was times where they were in the right spot, and the missed tackles, guys weren't making the play. And some of that's them. Some of that's like there was a play that the film study that I put up today. Where they sort of filled gaps, and then Kendall Fuller comes up, and he's the one who's there for the tackle, but Royce Freeman's like 230 and just lowered the shoulder on him and kept on going, So I don't think it's always the same thing, but it's too many things is what's going on there as far as stopping the run.
That's a really good point. Let's go ahead and make some Jacksonville predictions. We are running low on battery, and so at risk of cutting this off before, I don't want to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. We're going to just go ahead and throw these predictions out there. Let's go ahead with a score prediction and how it's going to happen. Lynn, we're going to start with you. Sorry, I didn't see that you were on your phone. If anybody else is prepared to go first.
Chiefs 27, Jacksonville 21. Kareem Hunt with the game-winning touchdown in the last 5 minutes.
I like it.
Boom.
Sam, what you got?
I don't know. 20, 35, 30. I don't know. They're going to lose. They're not going to win both these games. That's what I believe. Jacksonville and New England. I think they're going to lose at least one of them, and I'm trying to figure out if I think it's this one or the next one. Why not, let's say, 27-24 Jacksonville? Whatever.
Hater.
Can't wait for these tweets.
Well, it's either that or we're going to be that old Saturday Night Live skit about just all of us picking the Bears. Yeah. I mean, so, thanks for...
Can we all get, like, the Ditka mustaches?
Thanks for keeping us honest. Yeah.
I'll jump on it.
So I guess I'll stick with them this week just because...
You don't want hate tweets, too?
Well, I mean, I'll just mute those with them. But I'll bring the score down more than I have recently. So let's say I'll give them 30 this week. We'll give them 30 to 24. I'll give the Chiefs the win 30-24 in this one.
I think I'm going to go Chiefs 21, Jacksonville 19, and Harrison Butker makes a field goal in the rain.
How about that?
To win it.
7 field goals with that 21, maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
Former safety.
I'm not good at math,
Yeah, that's
figuring
right.
out how people get to that number. Maybe there's an extremist point. 23-19. What's math? I'm
7 field goals. Mahomes Mania would take a hit with 7 field goals.
Sure would.
I'm gonna have to not start him this week in my fantasy team.
We've seen it. Cincinnati?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Santos, 7 field goals in a 35-21 loss.
Lord,
That game inspired a jingle, didn't it? Blair?
High road country.
Oh my gosh.
With the background noise of the Bengals touchdown thing. Whatever it was, every touchdown.
I think one of you guys has to sing it, otherwise.
I
what
think
are we doing
I think we know that.
Well,
So in honor of D Ford, we have left 5% of the battery.
5% left. So on that note, we're gonna send it offline, and we'll be back Sunday night to break down what happens in the Chiefs-Jags game. But until then, you can follow all our work on all of our Twitter accounts and also kansascity.com in your paper every morning. So until next time, follow us there.